afternoon. I'm back in my summer house and it's an absolutely glorious day again. It's very humid though, so you don't want to be moving about an awful lot and certainly don't want to be doing any heavy work in this. But I'm still kind of on, let's say, restricted duties. The knee's still giving me a bit of jip. Not as mobile as I'd like to be at the moment, but it's getting better. So because I can't really do an awful lot in the garden, I've been prompted by Patricia, if you're watching this, and she said that it would be good if I could perhaps talk about the allotment or garden, sort of anecdotal, while my knee's repairing. So that's what I thought I would do. So I was going to talk about sort of my interest in the garden, where it started and that, but I've had some results from the RHS, Royal Horticultural Society, because I wrote to them some time ago about the problems I was having in the garden and about my neighbour's tree, which if you followed me you know that's been removed now. So the ongoing issues I've had in the garden, quite surprising response, to be honest. I've had two responses. I had initial response, which was mainly about the tree, and then I followed up with some more photographs of the issues I was having in the garden, and they've responded to that. So I thought I would talk about that, and I printed them out so I can go through bits, but what I will really do is I'll do some screenshots and put them at the end of the video so you can actually read them for yourself. But I'm quite happy to put my hands up in the air and say I've been wrong. I've been so wrong for so long, and it's actually really, really good news, because they've looked at everything and they say they don't think, they cannot see that it is mosaic virus. So let me explain. So I sent them what I regarded as the history of the problem over the last 5 years. And those of you that follow me won't need me to go into that now. You can read it at the end. But let me find it. The opening line of their first response was, "But your neighbour's plum tree is not infected with the mosaic virus. It has multiple problems, but there is no symptoms of a virus. The cucumber mosaic virus can infect a number of different plant species, but it will not be able to infect every plant in a garden." And then it goes on to list all the individual problems that there are with the tree. So it said the leaf curling was due to aphid attack. The holes, which have small pieces of brown tissue hanging on them, is symptoms of a disease known as bacterial canker. And this disease can also cause dieback. The distorted fruits are pocket plums caused by fungal disease, which elongates the plums and prevents the growth of the stone inside, leaving an air pocket, hence the name pocket plums. It says the canopy of the tree is generally thin, showing that the tree is in poor overall health. This may be caused by the three problems already mentioned, or those problems may be a sign of its ill health, as weak trees are more likely to be affected by pests and diseases. And then it goes on saying what these funguses and diseases can, what other plants or fruit trees that they can infect. So that was great. But it still didn't answer the issues of what was going on in my garden. So I then sent them a whole series of photographs that I considered to be infected plants. And I then got a further response, and it says our pathology department examined the photos and concluded that the symptoms are unlikely to be caused by a disease. It says if different plants, and it says various botanically unrelated, are suffering similar symptoms, the growing conditions are usually the problem. The symptoms are pointing to a nutrient deficiency. So that really caught my attention, because I've always added horse manure and farmyard manure to the garden, chicken pellets, rich compost, you know, all the things that you generally do when you grow vegetables. Tomato plants and that, I give them a tomato feed. The last couple of years I've been using liquid seaweed more often, so I thought I was kind of on top of everything, but they're saying no. So I'm starting to wonder if, because it's a small garden and growing vegetables which are very, very hungry plants, it's just depleted all the nutrients that were in the garden. And although I've remodelled the garden and brought in all new soil, it is a high percentage of horse manure. And what they go on to say, which I found really interesting, is that, where is it? It says excess manure and fertiliser can also result in phosphorus build-up, as it will not leach out of the soil. Extremely high soil phosphorus levels can potentially also cause similar symptoms. So that was quite interesting. So what they've suggested to me is that I have a soil analysis done. So they have sent me a sample bag and full instructions on how to take that sample. They sent me 3 bags. It's £33 per bag per sample. And although you can buy kits in the garden centres for £12, they're saying that they're just not accurate. So I think, knowing the issues that I've had over the years, and I'm still having, it's going to be worth me perhaps doing 2 samples, because most of my raised beds are all the same. I've got one bed with the garden's natural soil in, which is where the honeysuckle is, so I might do a sample of that. So that's £66. It is a lot of money, but I think really for the heartache that's been caused, that will really be worthwhile doing. So apart from that, it gave another piece of advice. I'll get my notes back. It says, try to boost growth with an application of high nitrogen fertiliser, ammonium sulphate. And it says, but do not exceed the recommended dose. Make sure the plants are well watered. So, would you believe it was actually really difficult to get hold of it? I'm sure it shouldn't be, but I went to 2 garden centres. The first garden centre, no, didn't even have it. Second garden centre, they had plenty, so that was good. So the first thing I kind of experimented with was the sweet corn. I'd featured them in a video, I think a couple of weeks ago, because they were starting to go very yellow and streaky, and I was getting quite alarmed by their condition. So I've been giving them a regular feed of liquid seaweed. They've had some Epsom salts, they've had some blood, fish and bone, and now that I was able to get this ammonium sulphate, they've had that as well. They've had good watering, and my goodness, has it made a difference? They are so rich in colour now, and you would have seen in my last video the effort I put into the courgette, which was going yellow, and that's responded as well. So yeah, after all this time, it's just simple chemistry. The ground was deprived of nutrients despite everything that I had been doing. So I may have removed a lot of plants that I'd eaten had done. For instance, my raspberries, they were really putting on some growth and producing flowers. I was absolutely convinced that was mosaic virus. And because of that, because that mindset and the fear that it was ravaging the garden, I removed them all. And it looks like it wasn't that at all. But you live and learn. So all my beans as well were a little bit yellow. They've all had the same treatment as a sweet corn, and I've noticed today that some of the leaves are actually becoming a slightly darker green. So they're taking longer to respond, but they are responding. So when I think about it, the sweet corn, the beans, the peas as well actually, the peas, they were very yellow at the base. And some of them had almost like a pinky tinge around the edge. And I must admit, when I googled that, it did suggest that that was a nutrient issue. So, yeah, so I've given them all this extra TLC and they are really responding. So I'm so chuffed. I'm so chuffed because there were times when I wanted to throw the towel in. I'd got that miserable about the garden that I couldn't see any way around it. Now it is sad that the tree's gone. I feel responsible, but it had a multitude of issues. My neighbour wasn't doing anything with it. They're renting the property, so they've got no interest in it whatsoever. And in fact, they want to put a gate in the back garden. So now the tree's gone, they can actually do that. So I feel guilty because of the birds more than anything. But the garden's got hope. It's really got hope. And I'm absolutely thrilled. So I'm going to hobble, but I'm going to take you around and show you some of the responses to the treatments that I've given these plants. I'm going to start with the sweet corn and look at the colour of them. I know the sun's on them, but that is so different to what it was. And then I'm going to bring you to this bed. I mean, that is just so different to what it was. Now these beans are slowly responding, but these ones over here haven't had the treatment yet. And look at the difference in colour. They're really sort of yellow. But over here, I know the birds have pooped on, I'm afraid. They do like these canes. But yeah, that's picking up. And the pongo have got a lovely rich colour. So I'm thrilled to bits about that. I mean, look at this courgette compared to what it was a few weeks ago. The peas have also received the same treatment, and they're flowering and fruiting. There's the Golden Gate, and the leaves are becoming quite a rich green now, flowering, but they were really yellow a week ago. So I'll come down to this side of the garden because it's too hot in the summer house. It was about 33 degrees in there. It was in full sun, and it was just baking. So I'm sitting in the shade now. So continuing on with the feedback from the RHS, the other thing they were pointing out is they're saying that probably the amount of yellowing that I was getting in all my leaves from the different plants could be because the soil is far too alkaline, and that could be because, again, too much manure, and so there could be an iron deficiency and a manganese deficiency. And it's saying that the manganese decreases significantly with the higher the pH. So although they can't test for the iron and the manganese, they can test the pH, which will give that indication. And they've also suggested that I get further specialist analysis, but I've searched online, and there's plenty out there, but it's for the farming community. It doesn't seem to be for domestic. So I think I'm just going to go initially with the RHS's own soil testing and see what that comes back as. But it does look like the things that they've suggested already are clearly working. So I think, although I, in my own mind, thought I was amending my soil, and I probably was probably only amending it enough to get the plant started, but it wasn't kind of permanent. And it, as the roots were growing, I suppose, and searching out, it was then searching out in soil that was nutrient poor. So it's such a relief. I mean, it's not great to realise you've been wrong all along, but I didn't just pluck that theory out of thin air. I'd scoured the internet, I'd looked at photographs, I'd looked at the ways in which the plants were responding, and I should put one of the photos up in particular was what happened to my courgettes. And if you go online, it's very difficult to not jump to the conclusion that it was mosaic virus. So I suppose everybody thinks they're an expert when they're not. Yeah, I'm starting to waffle, aren't I? Well, I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. So I think while I'm obviously just going to be chatting in this video, I wanted to take an opportunity just to say thank you so much for all of my new subscribers and those of you that have stayed with me for some time now. Now the channel's really growing at the moment, so I'm thrilled about that. Please comment and like. Now, I don't know about other YouTubers, but I will always respond. So if I take it as a compliment. If you take the time to write a comment on my channel, I will get back to you. It might not be immediately, but I will sit down and I will take the time and I will consider my response, because I am grateful for your support. And I know there are some YouTubers out there that don't even respond to comments, and I don't want to be like that. So whatever you want to say, positive or negative, you can point the finger at me now and say, you were wrong, Annie, you were wrong. I know I was wrong. But yeah, please comment, and I will get back to you. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to sit here now and chill out. I've got my leg up. I'm just resting it. And hopefully I can get back to all my antics in the next video. So I may cut this one short now. So take care till next time.